There are moments in life, my sweet friend, when it feels as though the whole world has stepped back from you, when the people you counted on become silent, when the places that once felt warm begin to feel cold, when the road under your feet seems to stretch endlessly with no companion beside you. And in those moments, it is easy to believe that something has gone wrong in your life, that you have been forgotten, that somehow you are less worthy than those who seem surrounded by love. But I want to speak to you softly, gently, lovingly. You are not alone. You have never been alone, and you will never be alone. What you are feeling is not abandonment, it is a sacred transition. Loneliness is not a punishment, it is an invitation. Loneliness is not a sign that life has turned away from you. It is a sign that life is turning you toward yourself. When the world grows quiet around you, it is so you can finally hear the sound of your own heartbeat, your own longing, your own wisdom. When familiar faces walk away, it is not because you are unlovable. It is because you are outgrowing the environments that kept you small. When the phone no longer rings, it is not because no one cares. It is because your soul wants you to stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward for truth. Loneliness is the space where self-love is born. You see, my dear, loneliness has a spiritual purpose that most people never understand. Before every expansion comes an emptying. Before every new beginning comes a clearing. Before every breakthrough comes a period of stillness, of silence, of solitude. Life never takes something from you without preparing to replace it with something better. You are standing in the hallway between chapters, not because life has abandoned you, but because life is preparing a bigger room, a deeper connection, a truer purpose. I often say that the universe works with precision, and that includes the timing of who stays and who leaves your life. People fall away not because you did something wrong, but because the version of you who needed them no longer exists. And what feels like emptiness is often spiritual space being created inside you, space where your strength can grow, space where your clarity can develop, space where your voice can finally speak. When distractions disappear, the truth of who you are appears. And now, my love, we must talk about the energy of complaining, not because you have done something wrong, but because complaining keeps you rooted in an identity that is far smaller than your soul. I say this gently. Every time you speak about what hurts more than what heals, you reinforce the wound. Every time you describe what someone did to you, you prolong the emotional connection to the experience. Every time you repeat the story of your pain, you keep the pain alive in your body. Your words are creative, your words are powerful, your words build the emotional home you live in. If you constantly say, "I'm lonely," then loneliness becomes the lens you see through. If you say, "No one cares about me," your mind will ignore the people who do. If you say, "Everything is hard," then every step becomes heavier. So imagine, just imagine, what could happen if for 24 hours you refused to speak the language of pain. Imagine saying, "I am learning to love myself." Imagine saying, "I am becoming stronger every day." Why, imagine saying, "Life is guiding me even when I don't understand the path." You are not denying your feelings. You are redirecting your energy. The moment you stop talking about what's wrong, you make space for what's right to enter. And now, my dear heart, we must turn towards something tender, something deep, something that sits quietly in the body and aches. Resentment. Oh, how many of us carry resentment without realizing how heavy it is. Resentment is the invisible weight on your shoulders, the tightness in your chest, the exhaustion in your bones. Resentment is the belief that someone should have shown up, that someone should have loved you better, that someone should have been different. And yes, I know it hurts when people fail you. I know it hurts when friends leave, when family disappoints, when promises are broken, but resentment does not punish them. Resentment punishes you. Resentment lives inside your body and poisons your energy. Resentment keeps you tied to the very people who hurt you. And the truth, the freeing truth, is this: people cannot give what they never learned to give. If they were emotionally closed, it is because no one taught them how to open. If they were selfish, it is because they lived in fear. If they hurt you, it is because they were hurting themselves. When you release resentment, you are not saying, "What happened was okay." You are saying, "I refuse to let this pain rule my life any longer." You are saying, "My peace is more important than my anger." You are saying, "I deserve to be free." And you do deserve freedom, my dear. You deserve to walk forward without carrying the weight of the past. You deserve mornings that feel light and nights that feel calm. You deserve relationships that are kind, supportive, nourishing. You deserve to feel chosen, not by others, but by yourself. The turning point of your healing will always be this moment, the moment you decide to choose yourself. When the world does not choose you, choose yourself. When people misunderstand you, choose yourself. When someone walks away, choose yourself. And not from a place of ego, but from a place of love. Because when you choose yourself, you tell your inner child, "I will never leave you." You tell your heart, "I am here for you." You tell your spirit, "You are worthy of love now, not later." And that, my dear one, is the most powerful healing you will ever receive. Let me remind you of something precious. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are unfolding. You are not lacking. You are learning. And loneliness is simply the space where this becoming takes place. There is beauty in the quiet. There is wisdom in the stillness. There is strength in the waiting. And one day you will look back on this lonely chapter and see it as the birthplace of your transformation. The moment you learned how to love yourself, how to trust yourself, how to stand for yourself, how to rise for yourself. And now, my dear, I want you to take a breath with me, a slow, soft, intentional breath. I want you to let your shoulders drop. I want you to let your heart open just an inch. I want you to whisper, even if your voice trembles, "I choose myself. I choose my healing. I choose my peace." This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of your becoming. And from here, from this quiet, sacred place inside your heart, the next part of your healing journey begins. I want to share something personal with you, something I've learned after many years of watching myself, loving myself, healing myself, and helping others do the same. Peace is not something you find when life becomes easy. Peace is something you choose while life is still complicated. And yes, my dear, I know how tempting it is to believe that peace will come when this is over, or when they change, or when everything finally makes sense. But that is not how peace works. Peace is present, not future. Peace is a decision, not a destination. Peace is a vibration, not a reward. And as I walked through my own seasons of worry, heartbreak, uncertainty, and loneliness, I discovered that the calmest moments of my life were not the ones where everything went perfectly. They were the moments where I stopped fighting myself. They were the moments where I stopped arguing with life. They were the moments where I put a hand over my heart and said, "It's okay, sweetheart. Breathe. You are safe." And this is why I tell you now, with all the gentleness in my voice, calmness is not weakness. Calmness is strength. Calmness is clarity. Calmness is power. When you learn to be calm in the middle of your own thoughts, your life begins to transform. Because panic, my dear, is loud. It screams, it rushes, it demands, it confuses. Panic makes you run toward the wrong things. Panic blinds you. Panic makes you think you must react immediately, even when reacting makes everything worse. But calm is quiet and wise. Calm sees what panic cannot see. Calm hears the whisper of your intuition. Calm allows you to respond instead of react. Calm gives you the truth behind the noise. Calm brings you back to yourself. And one of my favorite things to remind people is this: peace begins with the breath you choose right now. Not tomorrow, not when you fix everything, not when you become someone else. Right now, in this breath, this moment, this soft pause. Even if your mind is racing, even if your heart is trembling, even if life feels bigger than you, if you can breathe consciously for just a moment, you can return to your power. And so I want to give you something very simple. A tiny daily ritual that takes only 90 seconds but can change the entire direction of your energy. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Let your body soften as the breath lengthens your exhale, and whisper to yourself, "I am safe. Life supports me now." These words matter because they speak directly to your nervous system. They tell your body, you don't have to fight anymore. They tell your mind, you don't have to predict the future. They tell your heart, you are protected. And the truth is that when you feel safe, you think more clearly, you love more deeply, you listen more openly, and you heal more quickly. But now, my dear, we must step into the deeper part of this lesson, the part most people avoid, the part that feels uncomfortable but is essential for your healing, choosing yourself. And I want to say this gently, lovingly, but truthfully. Many of us spend years, sometimes decades, waiting for someone to choose us. We wait for someone to love us enough. We wait for someone to apologize. We wait for someone to finally understand. We wait to be recognized. We wait to be picked. We wait for external love to rescue our internal wounds. But life does not work that way. Healing does not work that way. Freedom does not work that way. There comes a moment, a beautiful, terrifying, empowering moment, when life puts you in a quiet room and whispers, "Choose yourself now." And that moment is the turning point of your entire life. Because when you stop begging for love and start offering love to yourself, everything changes. When you stop chasing validation and start validating your own feelings, everything changes. When you stop waiting for someone to save you and start standing for yourself, everything changes. Choosing yourself is not selfish. Choosing yourself is sacred. It means saying, "My needs matter." It means saying, "My emotions deserve kindness." It means saying, "My boundaries are valid." It means saying, "My energy is precious." It means saying, "I am no longer abandoning myself in order to be chosen by anyone else." And let me tell you, my dear, the moment you make that decision, a new kind of strength rises inside you. A quiet strength, not loud, not aggressive, not defensive, but steady, rooted, grounded. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't listen. You stop proving yourself to people who don't see you. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into places where your soul doesn't belong. You stop trying to be everything for everyone. You stop betraying your inner voice. And you begin to understand what self-loyalty truly means. Self-loyalty means making decisions that honor your energy instead of draining it. Self-loyalty means walking away from what hurts instead of hoping it magically heals itself. Self-loyalty means saying yes to what feels aligned and no to what feels heavy. Self-loyalty means learning to ask, what do I need right now? Instead of, what do they want from me? And little by little, step by step, you realize that choosing yourself is not an action. It is a lifestyle. It is the way you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. It is the way you comfort yourself when fear rises. It is the way you forgive yourself when you make mistakes. It is the way you protect your inner child from people who do not know how to love gently. It is the way you refuse to abandon your heart ever again. And my dear, this is something I want you to fully feel. When you choose yourself, life begins to choose you back. Opportunities open, relationships shift, energy softens, healing accelerates. Because when you align with your own worth, you align with the flow of the universe. And the universe responds to alignment, not desperation. It responds to self-love, not self-abandonment. It responds to your willingness to say, I choose me, I choose peace, I choose healing. So if today you are tired, if today you are overwhelmed, if today you feel unseen or unheard or unappreciated, I want you to pause for a moment, place your hand on your heart, and whisper softly, I am here. I choose myself. Let it be shaky if it needs to be. Let it be small at first. Let it be imperfect. Because choosing yourself is not about confidence. Choosing yourself is about commitment. And every time you choose yourself in the smallest way, by resting when you are tired, by speaking kindly to yourself, by saying no when something feels wrong, by walking away from people who cannot meet you with love, you are building the foundation of a life that supports you instead of draining you. And that life, my dear, is waiting for you each time you breathe deeply and return to your center. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are awakening. And the next part of your transformation is ready for you. Now, my dear, let us gently continue, because this next part is one of the most important pieces of your healing journey. The part where you learn to stand on your own feet with grace, strength, and deep self-respect. You see, so many people look for comfort outside themselves, but true comfort comes when you know you can take care of your own life, your own needs, your own heart. This is why I call it the art of self-sufficiency, not as a burden, not as isolation, but as a sacred relationship with yourself. When you know how to show up for yourself, you stop being afraid of being alone. When you know how to support yourself, you stop begging for crumbs of validation. When you know how to stay grounded in your own energy, you stop clinging to people who drain you. Self-sufficiency is not cold. Self-sufficiency is warm. It is the warmth of knowing, I can meet my needs. I can support my life. I can take care of me. And I want you to hear this not as a demand, but as an invitation. Self-care builds self-respect. Every small act you do for yourself, every meal you prepare, every bill you pay, every room you tidy, every schedule you maintain, these are not chores. They are declarations of identity. They are gentle ways of saying, I matter. My environment matters. My well-being matters. Many people think self-sufficiency means you must do everything alone, but that is not what it means at all. Self-sufficiency is not about independence from others. It is about independence from fear. It is about knowing you are capable, knowing you are responsible, knowing you can trust yourself. And it is also about knowing that asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. Because when you ask from confidence instead of desperation, you invite relationships based on mutual respect rather than neediness. Let's talk about the daily habits that build emotional strength from the inside out. Cooking for yourself is not just preparing food. It is communicating love to your body. When you chop vegetables with care, when you simmer soup slowly, when you season meals with thoughtfulness, you are telling yourself, I deserve nourishment. You are turning an ordinary task into a spiritual practice. I often tell people that preparing food is a mindfulness ritual. It invites gratitude into every step. Stirring a pot is a reminder that life provides. Washing rice is a reminder of abundance. Plating a meal is a reminder that beauty can be simple. And when you sit down to eat, even if you are completely alone, you can place your hands over your heart for a moment and say, thank you, life, for providing for me. That one sentence shifts your vibration from scarcity to gratitude, from loneliness to connection, from longing to presence. Cleaning your space is a way of clearing your energy. A messy environment often reflects a messy mind, and when you gently put things back into alignment, your heart softens and your breath deepens. When you make your bed in the morning, you are not performing a mechanical task. You are laying a foundation for the day. When you wash your dishes, you are closing emotional cycles. When you open the windows and let fresh air in, you are inviting clarity into your life. A clean space does not mean perfection. It means respect. Respect for your mind, respect for your spirit, respect for your path, budgeting your money, maintaining your schedule, keeping your promises to yourself. These are acts of emotional integrity. They teach your inner child that the adult version of you is trustworthy. They teach your mind that structure can be safe. They teach your spirit that stability can be beautiful. Self-sufficiency does not mean doing everything flawlessly. It means being willing to show up again and again, even when it's boring, even when it's inconvenient, even when you don't feel like it. Because showing up for yourself is how you prove, energetically, emotionally, spiritually, that you are committed to your own life. And here is something I want you to really breathe in. You don't need to do everything alone, but you do need to know that you can. That is healthy independence, the kind that creates emotional freedom, not emotional walls. When you know you can handle your life, you stop clinging to relationships that are wrong for you. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop accepting crumbs of affection. You stop living in fear of abandonment. You stop shrinking. And that is when your soul begins to grow again. Now let us move into something even deeper. The true source of healing, the root of calmness, the foundation of everything you've been longing for, inner peace. My dear, inner peace is not something you find when life finally settles down. Inner peace is something you cultivate moment by moment, breath by breath, thought by thought. Peace does not come from perfect circumstances. Peace comes from the way you respond to imperfect circumstances. Peace is not in the world. Peace is in you. And even when the world is loud, even when your thoughts are swirling, even when uncertainty is knocking on your door, you can choose stillness. You can choose breath. You can choose focus. You can choose love. You can choose presence. You can choose yourself. People often ask me, Louise, How can I stay peaceful when everything around me feels chaotic? And I always say, chaos is external, peace is internal. The two are not the same. You don't control the storm, but you control your grounding. You don't control other people, but you control your response. You don't control the timing of life, but you control the meaning you give to each moment. And this is the spiritual truth. Peace begins inside you, long before it appears outside you. Let me offer you a few tools that gently guide you back to your inner center. Journaling helps you release what your heart has been holding. You can write without rules, without structure, without judgment. Write your fears, your hopes, your confusion, your dreams. Let the paper hold what your mind no longer needs to carry. Silent walks reconnect you with the wisdom of your body. When you walk without distractions, no phone, no noise, no pressure, you begin to notice the rhythm of your breath, the movement of your steps, the softness of the earth beneath you. Walking becomes meditation. Walking becomes grounding. Walking becomes prayer. Mirror work, which many people fear at first, is one of the most powerful healing practices you can do. Stand in front of the mirror, look into your eyes, not your skin, not your flaws, but your eyes, and say softly, "I love you. I will take care of you." It may feel awkward, but that awkwardness is simply the doorway to authenticity. And then there is gratitude practice, which lifts your energy faster than anything else. Not because it denies your pain, but because it reminds you that even in pain, life still holds beauty. Inner peace is built through small choices, consistent choices, loving choices. It is built through the way you breathe, the way you think, the way you speak to yourself, the way you care for your space, the way you honor your boundaries, the way you show up for your life. And when you make these choices again and again, something beautiful begins to happen. Your nervous system softens, your heart opens, your intuition strengthens, and your spirit expands. Peace becomes your home. Peace becomes your baseline. Peace becomes your identity. Peace becomes your power. Well, my darling, let me say something softly before we move into this next part. Healing your heart when you feel unseen or unsupported is one of the most sacred journeys you will ever take. We all long to be understood. We all long to be chosen. We all long to feel that someone looks at us and says, "I'm here." And when that doesn't happen, the pain can feel unbearable, as if something inside you collapses. But here is the truth that took me many years to learn. When others fail to show up for you, life is inviting you to finally show up for yourself. You are not broken because someone didn't choose you. You are simply being redirected back to your own love, your own wisdom, your own magnificent inner strength. And so I want you to hear this with a gentle heart. You can heal even when people don't apologize, even when they don't understand, even when they don't support you. You can heal because healing is your birthright. One of the most powerful ways to begin this healing is what I call reparenting yourself. Many of us carry wounds from childhood, not because our parents were evil, but because they were human, too wounded to give what they never received. And so today, instead of waiting for that perfect parent figure to show up, you become the mother, the father, the guardian, the safe place your inner child has always longed for. You speak to yourself the way you wish someone had spoken to you. "I'm here with you. You matter. I will not abandon you." You become the presence that comforts you at night, the voice that encourages you in the morning. You become the one who says, "I love you. I will protect you. I will stay." When you reparent yourself, something miraculous happens. You stop expecting others to fill the emptiness, because the emptiness begins to heal from within. And part of this healing involves learning to stop overgiving. So many beautiful souls, sincere, kind, generous people, believe that love must be earned through self-sacrifice. They give and give and give, hoping someone will finally see them. But my dear, you teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you keep overgiving, the world will keep taking. If you keep abandoning your own needs, others will continue to ignore them. If you keep rescuing everyone, no one will learn to meet you halfway. Overgiving is not love. Overgiving is fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, fear of being alone. True love, real love, begins when you give from fullness, not emptiness. When you say, I care about you, but I will not betray myself to keep you. That is maturity, that is emotional clarity, that is self-respect. To heal deeply, you must also create emotional boundaries, which are not walls, but healthy doors that you choose to open or close with wisdom. Boundaries protect your spirit, your time, your peace. Boundaries say, I know my limits and I honor them. Boundaries say, I cannot carry what is not mine. Boundaries say, no is a full sentence. You do not need to defend yourself. You do not need to over-explain. You do not need anyone's permission to protect your own heart. When you protect your peace, you are teaching the universe that you are ready for relationships that nourish you instead of draining you. And my dear, please remember this. You must learn to rest without guilt. Loneliness is not a punishment. Loneliness is restoration, a sacred pause, a clearing of space so something better can enter. When you rest, you allow your nervous system to heal. When you rest, you let your heart soften. When you rest, you invite wisdom to speak. You are not lazy for needing rest. You are human. You are not weak for needing silence. You are wise. The soul does not grow in chaos. The soul grows in stillness. And now, let us move into the affirmation practice, because this is where your subconscious mind begins to shift. I want you to speak these slowly, gently, lovingly, as if you are teaching your heart a new language, a language of compassion instead of criticism. Place your hand on your heart, breathe softly, and let the words enter you like warm sunlight. I know I am worth healing. Let that settle in your body. Feel the truth of it. You are not healing because you are broken. You are healing because your soul is ready for a softer life. Now say, I deserve people who choose me, value me, and respect me. And you do. You always have. Your worthiness has never depended on someone else's ability to see it. Now breathe again and say, I release resentment and welcome peace. Well, let go of the heaviness you've been carrying, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. Then say, I am learning to trust myself deeply. This is the core of self-healing. When you trust yourself, you stop searching for validation. When you trust yourself, you stop fearing abandonment. When you trust yourself, you stop doubting your path. Now declare, I choose myself with love and confidence, because choosing yourself is the highest form of spiritual loyalty. Finally whisper, I am never alone. Life supports me in every moment. Everything I need is already within me. Feel how your heart softens as you say those words, because somewhere deep inside, you already know they are true. And now, my dear, let us close with a message about what comes next. Moving forward, not with fear, not with heaviness, but with grace. Healing does not end at acknowledgement. Healing expands you. Healing strengthens you. Healing gives you new eyes with which to see your life. You stand today at the edge of a new beginning, and life is gently whispering, "Come forward. There is more for you." You no longer need to shrink. You no longer need to chase. You no longer need to settle. You are allowed to step into a version of yourself that is whole, grounded, loving, wise, and beautifully aligned with your truth. And as you move forward, I want you to choose with intention. Choose healing over hurting, even when pain feels familiar. Choose growth over bitterness, even when resentment feels easier. Choose self-respect over loneliness, even when you love someone who cannot meet you. Choose peace over panic, even when your mind tries to frighten you. And most importantly, choose yourself every single day. Because the moment you choose yourself, the world begins to reflect that choice. Opportunities open, relationships shift, peace returns, and life expands in ways you never imagined. You are not here to remain wounded. You are here to rise, and I am so proud of you for choosing this path.